Dear Aries, the Ten of Pentacles appears alongside death and justice, like three sacred milestones on the road you're standing on, right before you cross a gate you cannot return from. A cycle is ending, and a new responsibility is waiting for your nod. An inheritance is calling your name, not just of wealth, but of power, a legacy, ready to be passed down. It's a chance, not just to receive, but to redefine who you are and how you walk through this world. But to move forward, you must release something has been holding you back through habit, through emotional attachment, through promises that were once right, but no longer nourish your spirit. A farewell you can't delay is drawing near, soft, but inevitable. And if you hold on to the past, because change feels scary, you may lose the peace that's already waiting on the other side of your courage. If you're still listening, if you're quietly nodding, you may feel something ancient awakening inside you. You're not just reclaiming your voice, you're restoring a divine alignment between you and the universe. There's a soul contract waiting to be signed, not with ink, but with your acceptance. I know what I'm about to say may shake you, but it will forever change how you see every door in your life. You don't need to be strong right now. You just need to be here. If these words are reaching the deepest part of you, comment down below as a quiet declaration to yourself. I honor where I come from, and I'm ready to receive what's mine. Letting go doesn't mean you've failed. It doesn't mean you've lost. It means you're clearing the way for something greater to arrive. It means you're finally stepping onto the path that was always yours, but you were never quiet enough to hear it calling. Now come closer. Imagine I'm laying these cards gently in your hands, not to tell your fortune, but to remind you everything you need to know is already inside you. The Ten of Pentacles isn't a promise of luck. It's a recognition of every quiet effort you've made in the dark, of every silent act of resilience that no one applauded. It's the light in your bloodline that whispers, you've returned. To finish the story they never could. What was once chaos is falling into place. Papers are being signed. Decisions are becoming clear. You're no longer stalling. Because you've chosen not to run, you're not just receiving what's yours. You're rewriting what ownership even means. No longer about holding on, but about caring, nurturing, and protecting. I can feel a deep gratitude rising in you. Gratitude for the ones who came before, even if they left without a word. Gratitude for those who endured, so you wouldn't have to live on the outside. Gratitude for the unseen hands that steadied you when you couldn't stand. The abundance you're stepping into is not just about money or success. It's about belonging. It's about a home where you don't need to explain yourself to be understood, where you can breathe without being judged, where you can just be without asking permission. To the right of the Ten of Pentacles, death appears like a cold, sharp blade, but one of honesty. It's not here to frighten you. It's here to cut the cords to everything that no longer belongs. It doesn't ask if you're ready. It simply arrives as a truth you can no longer ignore. You, the one who carries fire in your heart, the one who has fought for truth more than anyone else. You know exactly how it feels when something that once felt essential becomes a weight too heavy to bear. You know when a relationship, a role, a dream has reached the end of its life cycle. And now you don't need a reason to walk away. You just need to be loyal to yourself. This message, it's asking you to let go, not because you've stopped loving, but because you've finally chosen to love yourself more. Letting go is not giving up. It's honoring the fact that some structures have grown too small for the size of your soul. Letting go is not weakness. It's a quiet kind of strength only those who have touched true maturity can understand. When that cleansing is complete, justice will arrive, not as a verdict, but as a quiet confirmation that you did the right thing. You'll feel heard again, your voice no longer ignored or silenced. Your choices no longer floating in limbo, but placed firmly in your own hands, and you'll know you're ready to hold them. The curtain falls not because someone else pulled the ropes, but because you decided it was time. This is not an ending, it's a beginning. 3 final cards have fallen, and each one is a doorway into your heart. The Four of Swords recalls the exhaustion that once made you retreat, not because you were weak, but because your soul needed space to listen. You weren't running away, you were healing. The Eight of Cups shows the moment you rise at dawn, unashamed of your tears, unashamed of how long you held on. You walk away now, not because you're angry, but because loyalty to truth is the deepest loyalty of all. And then the Six of Wands arrives, like a quiet reward, not loud, but well-earned, like the triumph of a soul that chose light over resentment, that chose to move forward instead of staying stuck out of fear. Aries, you are no longer the warrior who collapses from exhaustion. You are the one who has walked out of the fire with your heart still burning. But now it burns not from rage, but from light. If you're still listening at this point, then I know you're ready. Write it down like a quiet vow. I choose myself. I open the door to justice. I let destiny find me, and I'll wait for you on the other side of that door, where light is no longer a dream, but the road you walk with your own 2 feet. Aries will no longer be misunderstood as just an uncontrollable flame. Those who once dismissed your silence will now have to face the truth that you made decisions no one else could make for you. And you did it not out of pride, but out of sacred self-respect. It was a quiet act of devotion, a way of choosing what is good without apology. Let me place my hand over your energy for a moment, because there's something that needs to be said clearly. Something too many people around you are still afraid to name. This month brings symbolic farewells for many, but for you, it might be the last true goodbye to something that once mattered, but no longer nourishes your soul. This ending is not defeat, it's a conscious surrender of the old. It's your way of telling the universe, I am strong enough now to release what no longer belongs to me. Death here is not grief, it is relief, it is spaciousness, so that what is tender in you can finally grow without being smothered by the past. Something you once protected now needs to be laid down with gratitude. Connections once precious now need to be seen through the eyes of maturity. And in that moment, when you dare to step back from the old role, you open the door for a completely new chapter, to be written in your own handwriting. The Six of Cups and Judgment appear, like messages from memories that haven't slept. They are not here to haunt you, but to witness you, because finally someone has become strong enough to name what was once buried in silence. That someone is you, not to carry anyone's pain, but to speak the truth without resentment, without judgment. Judgment is not condemnation. It is love in action, the act of seeing the past with eyes that no longer sting. This is healing that ripples outward, not just for you, but through the timeline from past to future. If you feel your throat tighten, that is not random. That is your confirmation you are in the right place, at the right time, and the blood of memory is flowing back toward you like a silent blessing from all that was once forgotten. A gentle hand reveals the King of Pentacles, the Tower, and the Ace of Cups. And the message here is clear. Because you don't live on vague hope, you live on real results. The King of Pentacles brings real contracts, real commitments, plans that once lived as ideas, now becoming actions, with dates, with signatures, with structure, a life with less pressure and more control. But before that new life can begin, the Tower must do its work. It must dismantle what was rotting from the inside. A relationship held together by belief, but no longer healthy. A secret kept to protect appearances. A role in the family that no longer fits. When those things collapse, it is not to break you, but to return the air you need to breathe. The Ace of Cups arrives like a glass of cleansing water, like an invitation to return to the softness that has always lived inside you. Love does not demand begging. Gentleness does not walk hand in hand with exhaustion. This is a phase where emotion, matter, and spirit intertwine so deeply, you begin to see more clearly, even in dreams. You start hearing the same word in different conversations. A number repeats itself every time you check the clock. A dream predicts exactly what you are about to face. This is not coincidence. This is the voice beyond words, spoken by an intuition, now activated within you, by souls who came before, speaking to you in a language you no longer need translated. And even when everything seems fine, the universe still asks you to let go. Let go of commitments that have no more life. Let go of connections sustained only by politeness. Let go of possessions that have become burdens instead of tools. Let go so that something new can take root and bloom. You were born with the gift of protection, of creating safe worlds, even in the harshest winters. But now you are being asked to use that gift for yourself first. Hold yourself the way you hold the ones you love. If goodbye makes you cry, do not hold it back. Let that sorrow have a sacred place on the altar within you, because a pain that is heard becomes a teacher, not a weight. Listen closely to what I am about to tell you, because this message is not only for you, it is for every version of you that was once silenced, because no one gave them permission to speak. This is the moment you rise. For all of them, close this chapter with a real ritual. Place one hand on your heart and one on your belly. Breathe deeply and say to yourself, like a vow, I, Aries, choose love and awakening. I do not resent the past. I do not reject the future. I am ready to open to peace, to abundance, to all that is meant for me. I do not fear change, and I do not back down, because I know light is waiting for me ahead. Let these words wrap around you like a cloak. You no longer need to force. You no longer need to prove. You only need to show up and choose yourself. As long as you stay committed to the words you have spoken, you will witness something new. The ones who once ignored you will begin to listen. The conversations once postponed out of fear or fatigue will return naturally, and you will find the tone to continue them without betraying yourself. You may even find some old love returning in quieter, more honest, healthier forms, because you have changed. How you give and how you receive, and life always responds to that kind of consistency. Let me leave you with an image to help you make decisions without impulsive emotion. Picture a vibrant garden grown by your own hands. A wise gardener knows when to prune, when to graft, when to release, and when to let the soil rest. They do not work from sudden inspiration, but from the rhythm of life that they respect and serve. The Ten of Pentacles is that garden, a fertile field, now in your care. Death is not the shadow. It is the gentle keeper of the shears, trimming away with love and precision. Justice does not come to punish, but to place in your hands a firm and steady grip, capable of balancing light and shadow, loyalty and necessary change. The Four of Swords reminds you that no growth happens in a space without silence. The Eight of Cups extends a hand, pointing to roots that have lost their life and need to be released, not because they weren't once precious, but because they've completed their role. The Six of Wands is that moment. The first sprouts break through the soil you've patiently tilled. No one can take away that quiet pride within your chest. The Six of Cups returns with ancient seeds, beautiful memories, ready to be continued in a new and fairer way. Judgment does not shout, it rings like a bell, marking the harvest of a new chapter. The King of Pentacles does not merely promise abundance. He gives you time, structure, and resources to make it real. The Tower comes to shake the ground, once pressed too tightly, so the roots can breathe again. And the Ace of Cups does not come too soon, nor too late. It arrives exactly when it is needed, like gentle rain upon dry land when the trees need it most to live. You may soon face a conversation you never dared to begin, or a meeting not scheduled by you, but orchestrated by a hand greater than yours. At first, you might feel resistance rise within you. If that happens, do not take it as a sign you are wrong, but rather as proof that your clarity has grown, and that very clarity is what makes the old energies tremble. True justice needs no spectacle. It stands strong in the quiet peace of its own knowing. If at any moment your emotions rise like waves, remember the Four of Swords. Mute the world for a moment, take a deep breath, and give yourself a few sacred minutes of silence. Then return with the confidence that your truth does not need to be shouted to be real. In matters of the heart, the Ace of Cups touches the deep waters within you. Like an invitation to a fresh beginning, it might be a new connection. Simple, honest, and peaceful, or an old one rewritten with integrity and kindness. You will know it because it does not ask you to pretend, does not force you to leave your safe space. Instead, it uplifts you so you can be more of yourself. This fire is not a spark that flickers and dies, but a lantern that always burns. A love that is not loud, but enduring and full of depth. A connection that is never rushed, but never absent. Let me remind you of something small but essential. Your time is sacred. Your energy is finite, and you have the right to protect it, not out of fear, but because you now respect yourself, the same way you've always protected others. What truly belongs to you will never require you to betray yourself or step across the limits that drain you. What no longer belongs will fall away on its own, like the final leaf of the season, sometimes with a gentle shake, sometimes with a collapse that spares you from holding onto what can no longer be held. If this conversation puts you in a place where a decision must be made, know that the time has come. Close it, not with anger, but with one strong, gentle act. This time, with a full breath, rewrite silently in your soul the words, I honor the blood that flows through me, and I clear space, so something new may rise and flourish. This is how you remind yourself that you are not drifting, that every step you take carries meaning, that you are moving forward, not as a reaction, but as the choice of a heart that has learned to love without losing itself. And I will allow your story to expand, as it was always meant to, because fires are not locked away in clubs at night. They are fanned to life when the right season of wind arrives. The cards have shown me the terrain where you stand. The shears are in your hand, and the scales are waiting for something sincere to be placed upon them. They whisper of a needed disruption, a gust of wind, shaking layers once thought still, and a pure chalice, silently waiting for you. Yet there is a detail still withheld, like a hidden reward that only appears when you truly step into the shift you've been preparing for. There is a name that needs to be spoken, not to claim injustice, not to stir rebellion, but so fairness can return to its rightful seat and truth can find its voice again. There is a gesture, seemingly small, that opens a great door, and a sign, clear as a sunbeam, that shows you which threshold to cross. Stay close, because in the next part, what has been hidden will be illuminated, and that light may change everything. It may give you the courage to walk into a new room of destiny, where you are no longer standing at the edge. I held the deck in my hands a little longer than usual, because I felt this could not be rushed. I saw a world that does not demand your haste, but asks for your presence, whole and undivided, as if life were whispering to you, asking you to adjust your senses, to listen. As the puzzle pieces click into place behind the veil, and when they do, you will finally speak into form what you have only felt like a scent lingering when entering an old familiar room. I sense a small detail on the manuscript of your mind when you once overlooked while too focused on the whole picture. A choice pointed to by the deepest map within your being, a signal not brilliant but unmistakable, like a flicker of flame in a dark forest. And I will let that heartbeat complete itself, because what is coming carries a depth large enough to reshape your path, and that deserves to be received by a heart that no longer resists. When the fire inside you begins to burn slowly, you will understand that what once looked like chaos to others has become alchemy in your hands, because you did not retreat. When truth stared back at you, you looked directly into pain, as if flipping over a burning coin, and with the resolve of someone who has walked through many seasons, you transformed it into a weapon of healing. In the moment the tarot card touches the deepest fire within you, the card of endings appears once more. But this time it is not alone. It walks beside the symbol of home, of grounded wealth and soulful independence, forming a new image in your spirit, an ending that is no longer an end, but a doorway placing you in a higher seat of maturity. No more arguments, no more denial. The season is shifting with the calm spirit and clarity of one who has finally understood the cycle of life. The card of home appears like an unexpected warmth in cold air, like laughter echoing through walls, like an invitation calling you back into your own space, where there is no more pressure, no more pretending. And the Nine of Pentacles reflects a version of you you once dreamed of, but never dared to hold. You appear now with sovereignty that is not arrogant, with abundance that does not close the heart, with decisions made without uprooting the soul. The harvest comes when you release exactly what needed to be released, when you finally understand that the fear of holding on can hurt more than the gratitude of letting go. Then Eight of Wands and Knight of Cups fall like wind rushing through a long, quiet window. Eight of Wands tells you news is moving faster than you think, conversations, opportunities, unexpected yet timely movements. And Knight of Cups brings an offering, maybe a love quietly approaching, maybe a reconciliation once thought lost, maybe a gesture from an unexpected place, but one your soul has long recognized. Whatever form it takes, what matters is this confirmation that you are not alone. The universe does not leave you stranded at the crossroad. It has been building bridges in silence for you to step forward steadily. The energy within you recognizes this melody and begins to sing as if it has always been there, waiting in the depths, just needing you to pause long enough to hear it clearly. Yet listen closely, for the cards do not paint over truth. Seven of Wands and Four of Pentacles arrive like loyal guardians, protecting your sacred ground. It is time to defend your private space, and the ideas growing quietly within you. Not everything needs to be shared, not everyone needs to be invited into your kitchen. Not all will understand what you hold as precious. Aries, you will start to notice silent movements, heavy with meaning, people who cannot take their eyes off your radiance. not because they admire you, but because they are unsettled by how far you have gone, beyond what they once knew of you. If you thought your light only attracted the good, this is your moment to learn how to set boundaries with a firm hand, not aggressive, but grounded. This is your garden, and it is also the sacred armor of your soul. The flowers within you cannot survive on your light alone without giving anything back. They cannot simply feed off your water, then leave you in drought. The story continues as the card of ancient wisdom steps forward, alongside a blade bright as dawn, a combination both unshakable and illuminating, a truth that cannot be denied. The sacred teacher whispers in your ear words of your ancestors, perhaps in a strange dream, perhaps in the gaze of a stranger. That stops you and makes you realize the universe is using them to deliver a message just for you. The sword of clarity cuts through the fog of doubt and hesitation. A word, a nod, an agreement, a message, a phone call, a moment of waking in the middle of the night, and knowing your heart has already chosen. These are not coincidences. They are the final voices of your intuition that you have listened to long enough. Now ready to become action. Do not dismiss these signs, because they are the keys that open the right door, the one that does not creak, does not resist, does not require force, only your presence and your willingness to step through. And right after that, the deck lifts your vibration like morning sunlight pouring through a window. The cards of light return, of homecoming, of confirmation, shining brightly in your energetic field. The sun wraps around you with warmth after long, cold months, whispering that joy is also sacred, that it does not oppose growth, but confirms the path you have taken, that you have kept the flame within alive. King of Wands sketches you as a leader led by the heart, not through force, but through a gaze so honest it makes others want to follow, because they feel both truth and love in your fire. Two of Pentacles reminds you that the art of living lies in balancing movement and rest, desire and reality, loyalty and adaptability. Like a dancer in the river, you are not swept away, but learn to navigate and adjust while keeping your inner compass steady. And then I feel the invisible hands standing behind you, those presences without form, yet you know they are real, because there were moments you thought you were alone, but a hidden force kept you walking forward. What you are about to experience is not just a turning point for you, it is a healing that moves through generations, a soul echo from your ancestors in response to the silent call you have been sending through every kind act. When the house within you finds stillness, when the sky inside you calms, that is when you are invited to speak. Not to judge, but to declare, not with a loud voice, but with full presence. Place your hand on your chest and whisper a vow that needs no witness. I, Aries, emerge from myself with a light that does not come from victory, but from the harmony between heart and action. I release what has run its course. I honor my roots. I walk without fear, and I receive what belongs to me. As one who is ready to tend to what I have planted, if these words are echoing in your blood, write them down as a vow. I, Aries, walk in light and truth. As a soul remembering the place I was always meant to return to. You don't need many words, only one deep enough to seal this energy with love, and then life will begin mending the mesh. Where it once felt loose, each small decision you make now will ripple through time. No action is meaningless. Every bit of your attention will be heard by fate, as if every nod, every shake of your head marks a threshold between dimensions. This is no longer the time for instinctive reactions. This is the time for deliberate choices, for being present, for listening to the language of your skin. When it shivers before something right or wrong, tune into those signals, for they are how your soul whispers to itself. And three cards appear like signals from the dreamscape, where doors are painted before they take form. Temperance speaks not of rigid formulas, but of harmony between beast and spirit, between the now and the future you are creating. Balance, not from restraint, but from deep awareness of what is needed and what is in excess. Six of Pentacles brings a timely gift. When you begin to feel depleted, a surprise offer, a hand extended, a heart opened, it arrives when you are ready to receive. Without clinging, it reminds you that true abundance flows not from hoarding, but from allowing energy to move through you. Knight of Wands charges in like a flame slicing the night. An event, an invitation, an opportunity arrives fast enough to make you pause and wonder, is this the sign you've been waiting for? It's not chaos, it's part of a plan you were never shown, but your heart recognizes it instantly. The next chapter begins like this. In quiet, but with purpose, day by day, you tend to the details of what you're building. Eight of Pentacles witnesses your silent efforts, your long nights, your unseen labor, every brick laid for a future home, and then the Emperor arrives as the pillar of a new foundation, not just someone to help you, but the embodiment of clarity, decisiveness, and action. The Hierophant returns as a reminder that your commitments are not just written on paper, but etched in your heart like sacred vows. You won't break even when no one is watching. Justice comes back, quietly and steadily, not to make you pay, not to demand anything, but to remind you. Balance always returns to its rightful place. You don't need to prove, you don't need to push or punish. The scales of the universe have taken note, and now they are adjusting everything with perfect order. The wheel of fortune spins again, bringing you closer to the gentle fulfillment of the Nine of Cups and the blazing spark of the Ace of Wands, a combination as if you have just finished one chapter, and at the same time are holding the pen for the next. The Nine of Cups is the soul's confirmation that you have made it, you have done what even you once thought was impossible. Maybe you survived a season of trial. Maybe you forgave something that felt unforgivable. Maybe you chose yourself at a time when that was the most painful thing to do. But whatever it was, you did it, and the Ace of Wands arrives like a first flame of spring, a sudden inspiration, an idea never spoken, a project that keeps you awake, a feeling that makes your heart race, a sharp decision that tells you you are back in the bloodstream of life. It could be a job calling you by your real name, a person looking at you with eyes that don't ask you to change, a voice within whispering that now is the time to act, not out of duty, but because you want to live truthfully and radiantly. Yet in the midst of this motion, the deck pauses, where the Four of Cups and Ace of Swords sit side by side, reminding you not to turn away from the gift being offered. Just because fatigue or past pain have made you wary, don't close yourself off in fear of another letdown. When the door is opening, not to test you, but to give you something that finally matches your frequency. Ace of Swords cuts through the fog like a blade of awakening, a truth so simple yet sharp, it stops all excuses, a recognition so clear, it no longer needs proof, a truth that has turned into words you can no longer deny, and then, like background music from a deeper world, the Six of Cups, the Ten of Pentacles, and the Hermit appear like a wordless evening under the stars. Ancestors, no longer just memory, now become the wind lifting you, as if each breath you take is shared with them, as if invisible hands rest on your shoulders just when you are about to fall back. Six of Cups brings you home to something once sacred, a keepsake, a scent, a glance, a moment that reminds you what once held true value. Ten of Pentacles awakens, the flow of a legacy once blocked, now seeking to return through you, and the Hermit is you, in your most primal form, needing no spotlight, just silence as a map. What you are doing is not only liberating yourself, but rejoining a sacred lineage. Once broken, do not let yourself be distracted by glittering cold things, by masks that promise closeness, but carry no warmth, by sweet promises that were never meant to be kept. Seven of Cups warns you not all opportunities are true openings. Some are illusions, some are tests. Let intuition lead you. You don't need to understand everything, but if your heart tightens when someone comes close, that is a sign. And if you feel peace beside something, even without knowing what it is, that too is a sign. It is time to choose something real and stop hesitating. The final three cards rise like sunlight after the storm. The Sun, the King of Pentacles, and Strength appear as if you are being blessed, not just by the universe, but by your own most mature self. The Sun illuminates the parts you once hid. The King of Pentacles offers safety without need for proof, and Strength reminds you that power is not in the shout, but in the quiet perseverance of holding on to faith. When no one is watching, you do not need to break yourself. To rebuild, you only need to lay the first brick with the quiet certainty that you are in the right place. You do not need to rush, you only need to keep walking steadily. And then, like a distant bell ringing, the final three cards, Judgment, Ace of Pentacles, and the World, arrive like the ending and the beginning of a sacred circle. Judgment is the call you cannot ignore, the echo you have heard in dreams, the way your body trembles when you are close to truth. The Ace of Pentacles brings a tangible opportunity, something you can hold, something you can sign, something you can start building, not just with your heart, but with decisive action, not as luck, but as the reward of endurance, and the world places you at the center of a new orbit, where you are no longer spinning with life, but steering it. The world confirms that a chapter has closed in wholeness, that what once seemed out of reach now rests gently in your hands, that what you once delayed out of fear or unreadiness has now been met with quiet maturity. The sense of completion rises like a sigh after crossing a snowy mountain, like the moment you open a door and realize the home you dreamed of was always waiting for your return. Tarot still whispers fragments of light, so you miss nothing. The Two of Swords appears, like a mirror reflecting the old doubt that may still linger, a whisper asking if you truly deserve this goodness, if you can hold it. If things really do get better, and the wheel of fate answers, with a turn that cannot lie, yes, you deserve it. Yes, you are enough. Yes, the old cycle is complete. What once stopped is moving again. What once locked is now opening. The Knight of Pentacles steps forward, like a patient friend, holding your hand through steady steps, not rushing, not retreating, not loud, but never stopping. Each moment arriving is not coincidence, but the ripe fruit of a silent process where you planted without needing to be seen. This is not a miracle that appeared suddenly, but one accumulated over long sleepless nights. Over every moment you chose truth instead of comfort. Every time you said no to what once made you abandon yourself. Still, the human heart must say goodbye to what was once familiar, even if it no longer fits. The Nine of Swords and Eight of Cups emerge, like sad notes in a song changing key. You will leave behind a belief that once guided you, a doorway that once sheltered you, a dream that no longer holds your reflection, not because you do not honor it, but because you have outgrown it. Do not see it as loss, see it as liberation. When you release what has drained your light, you make space for the new light to enter, like a cool breeze after rain, like a bell that wakes the deepest part of you. There will be tears, but there will also be relief, like a shore washed clean by new waves. Dawn will not announce itself. It only comes when you are ready to see. And then the light returns as if it never left. The cards reveal a sky so clear where the sun shines, not only to warm, but to confirm you have made it. The Six of Wands lifts you, like a victor who needs no crown, no crowd, only the knowing that you did not betray your path. And the King of Cups shows you as the one who rules the sea of emotion, the one who can love without losing direction, who can feel without being consumed. They will see you differently. Even those who doubted will have no choice but to recognize that you are not who you once were. You have learned how to balance gentleness with power, love with boundaries, hugs with no, and home with longing. And now, let me whisper in your ear with the tenderness of a soul who saw you long before you saw yourself. This month will bring you what is rightfully yours, but it will also ask for a decision no one else can make for you. You cannot walk into the new chapter while looking at the old one with doubt. You cannot receive the new if your hands still cling to what has completed its role. Close that door, not with pain, but with love, like the tide pulling back to make way for the new wave. Full of life, trust the tide within you. Trust your flame, trust the call that has always burned in your bones from this table where the cards have been laid. I see you, stronger, freer, and wiser. You do not need to wait for anything else. You have become the one who chooses their own light. No matter how loud the world may be, your true home remains within, where you are seen, where you are heard, where you are free to choose yourself again. And when that moment comes, when everything aligns, you will know that beauty does not live in perfection, but in what you have walked through to reach a truth that needs no decoration to shine.